So I remember every time I've taken it twice now, I think, the Pottermore test, and I always want to get Ravenclaw, and I almost try and do everything I can to get Ravenclaw, and I still end up showing my true colors, and I'm a Hufflepuff. So
why do you say it like that?
Okay, no, here's why. The first time I found out, I don't know, I got kind of down, and my husband looks at me and he's like, why is this a big deal? And I was like, because I feel like in the books, obviously Gryffindors are, praised, and Slytherins are just so interesting.
Thank you.
Kind of the god dark thing going on. But I feel like, too, I like the idea of intelligence, but the Hufflepuffs, it just seemed like they were always just they're never really mentioned, although...
Cedric is a Hufflepuff.
I know, but it just to me didn't resonate. And so recently when I took it on Pottermore, Tim found an article for me on Pottermore that's here's one of the, reasons...
How to deal with being a Hufflepuff?
Well, there was that, but it was why it's amazing to be with a Hufflepuff, why they make amazing friends, and again, they talk about in the end battle of Hogwarts, I mean, the Hufflepuffs just all stayed,
Represent.
And it was just they're loyal, they're hardworking, and so it was one of those things I was they're not necessarily exciting qualities, but I mean, they are, I don't know, so I was able to look at it in a little different way. So I am a Hufflepuff and proud.
Yay!
So we do have all 4 of the houses represented in this podcast. Because we have the Hufflepuff, and we have the Slytherin, and we have...
A Ravendor. Gryffindor. I'd rather go Gryffindor.
A Gryffindor.
Yeah.
I like that.
Got it all covered.
And then we also have the Thunderbird.
Yeah, so let's talk about this.
2 Puckwudgies.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was just...
okay, so and thus the name works.
Exactly.
Stays.
So they invited me because they knew it still worked. So.
You would have been invited anyways.
Yes.
Just would have made the name a little more complicated. Would have just been I don't know what the other houses are, honestly.
Yeah, I was just going to say...
What are the other houses? Thunderbird.
Who cares?
Puckwudgie.
Because we have... So...
Yeah, I haven't looked at that stuff in a while.
Puckwudgie is the heart. I remember they described it as, and Thunderbird was... soul or something?
Awesome.
Yeah, no. I think it was something like that. So it's heart and soul, right?
Ooh.
Someone correct
Do
me
you
if
want
I'm
to play
getting
Heart and
this
Soul
wrong.
on the piano?
But let's see if we can even... So the mind is represented by the horned serpent.
I knew there was a lizard type thing.
Yeah, some snaky something.
I love this one. The body, Wampus. I feel like that's a crazy name. And then heart, we were right, Puckwudgie, and the soul, Thunderbird. So I really think we're the best ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to offend any of our fan base. You're all important.
But nobody wants the Wampus.
Speaking of our followers, or not to offend, what's going on our Twitter? I mean, we haven't been particularly active, but though I did at one point try to follow a bunch of people in hopes that they'd, maybe
They'd follow us back.
Maybe get some follow backs, maybe get some little hype going on.
How did you choose? Who were some of the people that you followed? As I'm pulling this up here.
I think I might have looked for some kind of Harry Potter stuff. I might have looked for podcasting things. I
need to look for muggle.net. See if we can follow them. I know they're still active.
Really?
Which is impressive. Active since 98 or something.
That's awesome.
That used to be the place to get Harry Potter news.
And now it is our Twitter handle, which is at Thunderwudgie. We have 7 followers, which I think is pretty impressive for not really
tweeting at all.
Yeah.
Thanks for the follows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Accidental or otherwise.
We've got Reese, obviously, is
following ourselves.
Yes. We've got to follow ourselves. So the 3 of us are on there. We've got a radio station, AM FM 24/7, which combines the best in talk radio and music from the 50s to today. I really
the
enjoy
50s
that.
to today. It's a long span.
Wasn't that when Voldemort first came into power? No,
but
it's a good theory.
Yeah, no, that would be
the 60s.
Whoever
70s? No, 60s, because Harry was born in the like early 80s, because the books actually take place in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting tidbit.
Well, an interesting tidbit is, how old Voldemort is. I was listening to these lectures where he talked about Voldemort's age, and I was like, I didn't really think about that he is actually old.
Okay, but didn't they do... Stick with me here. In the second book, didn't they do a flashback to when Voldemort was at school, Tom Riddle at that point, with Hagrid? And didn't they say the time frame then, like how long ago it was from the present day?
Probably, and that's how you'd kind of figure out roughly how old they were, because it says like which year Hagrid was in and which year Voldemort was in, or Tom. Yeah, so that's how you'd figure it out. But I just remember I was like, I didn't actually think about that they were quite old, especially Hagrid. When you're the Snake Eye, it's kind of ageless face. It's not the same, but
How old is Hagrid?
pretty old. There you go. How old is Hagrid? Well, in the year 2018, or
Yeah.
what year was Hagrid born?
Well, Hagrid didn't he and Madame Maxine get together?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Is they have little giant children running around?
But was
Little
she
giants.
was
Okay. That's why I thought in the second book, and this the math wouldn't quite work, but I thought it was like 50 years ago is when this happened. But according to the author, Hagrid's birthday is December 6th, and events in the stories lead us to believe he's approximately 60 years old when Harry first attends Hogwarts.
That's very interesting.
Isn't it?
But if he's a giant, he might live longer.
I don't know. Big people don't live very long, so
Right.
I don't know if giants.
But this is in the wizard world. Not people with that brain condition.
So hits from the 50s.
Yes.
So
So
Hagrid would be I don't know. Maybe in Great Britain they didn't listen to that same music as here. But.
we also have a follow from @podcastmovement. So
Fellow podcasters.
Woo woo.
this is the one that I find very interesting. This is Grindhouse Theol, Grindhouse Theology. We're a Christian horror movie blog. Our moms say we write good. And I just, what is a Christian horror movie? I don't think I've ever seen one of those. What does that even mean?
What is Christian horror?
Most Christian movies.
It's either just movies about people expelling demons, which you guys can stay on your side because I don't watch that crap. It scares me. But
Really?
yeah, no, I don't watch that stuff.
Are you not afraid of demons?
Not really. I mean, I in the sense, like, I know they're stronger than me, and it wouldn't be like a battle, but I'm not afraid. I don't know how deep do we want to get into this. I don't know.
I mean, like, what's one of those movies? Like, The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Or The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I'm not going to watch that.
I saw that in the theater with my friend. She asked me to go, and she's like you, where she was like, "Ah!" the whole time, and I'm like,
No, it's not.
Why?
It's not that I'll be scared during it.
And after, she was like, when she'd wake
it
up,
will stick with me for months.
yeah, and then every time she'd wake up at 3 a.m, she would freak out.
Oh yeah. I still get scared every time I wake up at 3 a.m. I've never seen one of those movies.
So yeah, Christian horror. I don't know. Is it Christians? Is it Christians who like to watch horror? Is it horrible Christian movies?
Okay.
I couldn't help it.
Grindhouse Theology, please tell us.
Who
We're
are
curious.
you?
Yeah.
You're following us, so
And you should write a movie about Saint Agatha.
at least. I
Because
mean,
that is a horror movie.
pick your saint, Lawrence.
But he tells jokes.
Which
It'd be a comedy.
which the one that got flayed alive?
Oh, why? Why are we going there?
That's pretty horrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you want a horror movie,
Saint Agnes would be a horror movie. Anything during the Roman persecution,
yeah, right?
really.
The Romans were just one big horror.
I love those movies. Like Quo Vadis. Oh my gosh. It's like 3 hours of joy.
Nerding out.
Have you guys ever seen Quo Vadis?
I have not.
I
Oh
think
my
I've only
gosh,
seen
so
bits and
good.
pieces.
Quo Vadis is so
Do we
good.
need to have a movie night?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but we have a lot of movie nights that need to happen. Where's this going
Oh
to
yeah, I
rank?
know. We started with Joan of Arcadia, which I see on your shelf. has to be finished.
Mm-hmm. And
then Star Wars, and then Harry Potter. We started Harry Potter, didn't end up.
And then we've talked about a number of other things that we need to watch.
Rewatching all the Lord of the Rings.
Love. All in a row? Like, take a whole weekend?
No,
It takes...
I want to barf just thinking
You can
about
do it
that.
in one day. I've done it.
I really
Yeah,
want to barf
actually,
thinking about
yeah.
that.
I love
I'm going to
Lord of the
say
Rings.
10.5 hours. We did it in 10.5 hours.
So
And
Reese
we had
and
a
I will
break.
do it.
We had a break.
Teej is
'cause
out.
you guys are younger than me. You can do that.
Why can't you do it? You don't have to actually watch it the whole time.
I
You can have a conversation while it's
feel
happening.
gross sitting and watching.
You don't have to
things
sit.
for like long periods of time.
Some of us feel that too, but then we just push through it, okay?
You take a couple of trips to the vomitorium, and then you come back.
Speaking of your mom. Oh, well done.
And, sorry, just to get, I want to
Just
make
make
sure
it
I don't
go,
forget.
Yeah. Let's get through the list.
Octavia J.
Speaking of Octavia.
At Redskins for Forge, a fan page for the Washington Redskins. Please help by following. This is a graded project. So those
Oh,
project.
yes! That is awesome!
Hey, Washington Redskins.
I want to know
Good for you
what is
guys.
that person tweeting? Like, that it's a class project. I mean...
Well, they're giving some shout outs for Valentine's Day to some various NFL veterans. But look at the very cool graphic with the
nice.
fireworks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, happy birthday.
To
Cute.
one.
So yeah. Oh look,
That-
this cool one of Martin Luther King in gold glitter.
That's sweet.
That's what he was thinking about when he had a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Gold
I have a dream of
glitter.
animated GIFs.
Yeah. So I guess that
We have an eclectic group right there.
we do.
Yeah.
What do you guys want to see from us?
Tell us. Tweet
Email
at
us
Email.
at
Yeah. What is our email?
thunderwudgies@gmail.com. That's right. You spelled the word thunder, and then you spelled the word wudgie, not wedgie, at gmail.com. And it is plural, not coms. Let me start again.
Whoa.
Thunderwudgies at gmail.com. Go there now. Send us anything. Send us a GIF or a GIF.
Yeah, I was gonna say we might get some weird with Thunder Wedgie now. So I think
Well, Thunder Wedgie is going to have some weird emails.
Maybe it's already taken. Maybe we should email that just to see if it goes through. Or
Thunder Wedgie? I'm sure Thunder Wedgie is taken. And it's a 57-year-old man.
cringe.
Anyways, Harry Potter.
Anyway.
Speaking of a 57-year-old man, Harry Potter.
Well, now we know that Hagrid is 60. I don't know, that still kind of blows my mind because I feel like he was not that old.
I know, that's why it blew my mind
So
when
then
I heard
Voldemort
that.
is just a little bit older than him.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so how old is Voldemort when he's going through? So do you think he's in his 60s or he's 70? Like, I'm just imagining, like, an old man.
Then how old is Dumbledore?
Oh, gosh.
He's really old.
What do you think, people? What are the...
Well, because his fight with Grindelwald takes
that's
place
right.
around World War II, like in the 40s.
So he is in his...
1881.
Or 1881.
But, let's see. That would make him either 115 or 16 when he died, but J.K. Rowling said in an interview that he was about 150. So I think we're getting some conflicting information here. I think the author probably would know, but...
But also she knew that Ron was going to die, and then Ron didn't die, and then, all
Ooh,
this stuff happened. She goes back and forth on a lot of things.
So what do you guys think?
I still
to-
highly respect you, J.K. Rowling.
And if you want to be on our podcast, we'll let you.
We would totally let you come on this
Yeah.
podcast. Actually, we couldn't physically let you come on this podcast because I would be wetting myself the whole time.
Did you really?
I wouldn't be wetting myself. I wouldn't be able to speak, and I would have to leave the room.
Really? Are you like that?
I'm thinking about it right now.
You're
I'm
around a lot of muckety mucks, though, so you're probably okay, right? I mean, you do stuff. You go to things.
I mean, I think I'd have a little bit where I was quieter starting out and not feeling like I could share as much, maybe kind of let the expert speak. You
Well,
know?
right.
But
I wouldn't be able to let it be recorded. I would need to just, get my fan stuff out, and then it would be, incoherent babbling, and then I would just need to, have a conversation.
But those could be some of the best questions.
Even now,
when
I'm
you're,
just
like,
saying
really...
the word like way too much.
I think it would be tempting. I pick up, like, I imitate other people, and so I would be afraid that she would think I was, like, making fun of her accent if I started sliding towards that.
I've done that before. I had a teacher from England, and once we were talking, and I have a terrible, English accent, but I just started talking in his accent, and it was really awkward, and I had to walk away.
Did he notice?
I think he noticed, yeah. He was nice and didn't say anything about it, but yeah, it was awkward.
Because I feel like did it again.
Like,
I'm so sorry. I'll edit it out.
it's a common problem.
It's because I stare at a computer all day and just continue to do the same thing. My brain is actually dying with this job.
Mm-hmm. That and cell phones.
So we're back to the Dementors now.
If I was hearing someone speak to me that was British or some other accent, and they started to sound more American, I probably just wouldn't notice.
See, I thought you were going to say I would start using my Australian accent.
Good eye, mate. Immediately I want to say pip pip cheerio.
Oh, yeah.
In closing, we are supposed to answer life's biggest questions.
I mean, hasn't most of this podcast been us answering life's biggest questions?
Very informative, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any burning, life-altering questions that come to the forefront of their mind?
Danny brought something up earlier that made me think something profound, and I didn't have a chance to say it. Let me think. What was it?
That's good if she thinks I brought up something profound.
You totally did. Mm-hmm. It was something when you were talking about work, doing things that you like, and does it become work, or is it a hobby? Mm-hmm. And it was going towards, and I brought something up in my mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking about, there's sometimes things that you get to do in a job, and, I feel like you're told a lot when you're young, like, you want to find something that makes you passionate, right? Mm-hmm. And I do feel like I know people that go to work every day and really do feel like this is, I mean, everyone has bad days, but this is something that's meaningful and that they like doing. But yeah, we were kind of talking about, I guess I take it for granted sometimes, some of the things that I'm able to do. And it does become more like a chore. So when you go home, you kind of want to do the opposite, when really that used to be something maybe that you would want to do on your own time.
So, burning question. What is your life's biggest passion?
That's a great question. Anyone can jump in here too, but...
Email us at...
No, I mean, I feel like for me, I don't know if it's really the same, but like when I'm enjoying myself the most, I guess, is when I'm doing things with other people and I feel like it's meaningful or helping in some way. But I don't really know. That's something I've kind of struggled with, like trying to figure out what kind of job I wanted to do or what kind of things I should really spend my time doing, because I feel like there are a lot of things I like to do and I like being with people, but I don't know if well, that's depressing. I don't know if I've found exactly what that is.
What do you mean when you ask that question? Do you mean like what are you passionate about, or what brings about feelings of passion or interest? Or, I mean, I feel like you could interpret that question in a few different ways.
I guess I'm thinking of it like, what were you put on this earth to do? Which, I mean, that is the ultimate life-altering question.
Yeah.
Really. That's everybody's thing. Like, I feel like in a lot of ways I was put on the earth to write. Like, I'm supposed to write. And I've even had, like, prayer time where it's like, well, obviously I'm supposed to be writing.
So do it.
But I don't do it enough. At all.
Now you're going to have us pushing you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, like...
Which is good. That's good.
Contact you periodically and be like, have you written?
Yeah. And I'll be like, no, crap.
When will you write? When will you put that on your calendar?
What about you, Teresa?
Or what brings you the most, like, joy?
Yeah, I mean, because that's why I feel like I would have different answers depending on how the question is asked. Like, I feel like...
I think we're just asking all of life's biggest questions
right
now.
I mean, just all on the same podcast.
And what's your greatest fear? And what's your biggest regret in life?
And your most embarrassing moment. And I would say loving people well, and I don't mean that like in a hippie way or kind of like this kind of goofy, superficial way, but like genuinely, is something that I'm passionate about learning to do better and be better at. But when it comes to, I mean, and that gives me joy, I guess, to kind of relate to what you're saying. But there are other things when, and I mean, I guess you could say, what are you put on this earth to do? I mean, I would argue that would be what we're here to do, but in a more of a sense of like maybe what unique thing as an individual am I here for? I am not entirely sure, but I'm trying to figure that out. I've been doing What Color's Your Parachute? I don't know if you've heard of this book.
I don't know what that is.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh. Read it. I'll show it to you. But no, this gentleman started writing this book, I think, in the late 70s. And it's basically a book to help you learn more about yourself and then using that to hone in on, like, jobs or things of that nature that you would be would be a good fit for you. And so there's all these exercises and different things. And the neat thing about the book is that they come out with a new edition every year, so they're always updating it and changing it and stuff. So I actually did it 15 years ago, and then I'm doing it again right now. So it's interesting. I'm not done yet.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. So it's not an answer.
I took one of those career placement tests.
Ooh, are you
again
like
today.
a farmer? Mm-hmm.
And what was the one they said? They always say, like, the first thing is, like, something that has to do with education and psychology has always been my first thing. I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then flight pattern engineer I got today, which is great. I'm glad veterinarian wasn't on there anymore. I always get veterinarian. It's like, well, this is a shit test.
Mm-hmm. I would love, I don't know if it's in my file, like I know I took a test like that when I was like a sophomore in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to know what mine came out as. I have no idea. I remember my friend got farmer, and it's only because her last name was McDonald, and we all thought that was hilarious. But I don't know.
I feel like I got, we did one in like middle school. I'm not sure how serious we all took it. But one of them that I got was like I forget the term now, naturopath or something. That's very,
naturopath.
Yeah.
There you go. Reese has got me. And then bus driver. So
Hey.
I mean, just a wide variety. Like I don't see what skills they have in common, like or interests they have in common, like very different paths. But and so I just chose to do communications. So
I chose the middle ground, and
it works for everything, right?
Yeah.
well, if you have any big questions to ask us, you feel free to email us or tweet at us at Thunderwudge.
At Thunderwudge, singular, or email us at thunderwudgies@gmail.com. All right. Great podcast, guys.
See you next
Thanks
time.
for having me.
Thanks for joining us, Annie.
Thunderwudge is hosted by Reese, Annie, and Teej. We're at Thunderwudge on Twitter, and you can send us an email via thunderwudgies@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.